in the approval of 57.6 billion naira for sports utility vehicles for lawmakers. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is said to have submitted a supplementary budget to the National Assembly requesting the allocation of over 7.3 billion naira for the procurement of vehicles for the State House. In the same budget, the Office of the First Lady is set to receive 1.5 billion naira for the purchase of new vehicles. The budget request is set to be part of President Tinubu's broader proposal, which includes a 2.17 trillion supplementary budget for approval by the National Assembly. Within the supplementary budget, the government intends to allocate 2.9 billion naira for the acquisition of sports utility vehicles designated for the presidential villa, and an additional 2.9 billion naira for the replacement of existing vehicles at the presidential villa. Dr. Abati, you know that this will raise a lot of eyebrows, but you know that there is more. The breakdown of the proposed expenses also include the sum of 4 billion naira for the renovation of the residential quarters of the president, while renovation of Dodan Barracks, the official residence of the president in Lagos, would also gulp another 4 billion naira. Also, the sum of 2.5 billion naira is budgeted for the renovation of Aguda House, while 3 billion naira is budgeted for the renovation of official quarters of the Vice President in Lagos, bringing it to a total expenditure of 13.5 billion naira.
Wow, the unending story of the abysmal expenditure by this current government in the face of a worsening Nigerian situation where citizens of Nigeria cannot get it right. Even food to eat is a big problem. Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. You are welcome to your darling program, The Comrade and Friends, a segment of The Comrade Show. These are many more we shall be looking at today as we try to deepen yet again democracy in our great country. Do not touch that dial. Stay with us. The show will be right back.
This is the Commerce Show.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Today, the 5th of November, 2023. Special thanks to Arise Television for that intro. It's no gainsaying the obvious. Our country, Nigeria, is in a very difficult place. With me today on the show is our brother, our friend, and CNC, Comrade Araki. Comrade, we're going to go straight to the thick of the matter, but it will be wise for you to say hello to our viewers.
Hello, Nigerians. Greetings to you all, and thank you very much, Comrade Pharmacist, for your encourage. Yes, Nigerians, this is where we find ourselves. Well, the show must go on. Over to you, Pharmacist.
Thank you so much, Comrade Lamte. I must thank you very much. Almost every day in this week, you've been on air, trying to educate, bring to our many viewers, especially of Nigeria, extraction, and I dare say Africa as well. But the story sometimes seems not to be changing. The more we talk, the more things are happening, and the more I think Nigerians don't even understand. But viewers and friends of the Comrade Show, you know the deal. Please share, and share so that many people get to see, watch, and listen to it. You can also join us on TCS blog. But if you are listening and you are not sharing, you are not helping matters. Because we do believe that the more many get to hear of this, those in power will also get to hear of this. And we might just be able to turn the spanner a little way so that it will favor more of Nigerians, not just a few. I dare say the political class. So today, the big issue is the unending expenditure by this new administration who is yet to witness six months in the saddle, taking away the high court, the court issues and all. But only a few weeks ago, our president has been declared the substantive president, except we want to take our prayers to God. So we are not changing anywhere. Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his administration has come to stay. But Nigerians can't understand that in the face of difficulty, where we've been advised to cut our coat according to our size and to do more to make the economy grow, those in charge, those advising us, those leading us, seem to care less, and their expenditure, I dare say, is astronomical. Painful. These monies are not ours. They are even borrowed money. If we are spending the money owned by the nation, it will be understandable. But it is borrowed money. And today, Comrade Show want to look at the first lady to get 1.5 million naira to change her cars. And many are asking, is the first lady a constitutional position? Is she elected? What is the role of first lady in our democracy? And what does she bring to the table that will spend 1.5 million naira just for cars alone? What will happen to our wardrobe and our staff? Not even mentioning the presidential yacht that we heard has already been bought and the expenditure stylishly put into the defense budget. And our senators are willingly approving anything that come their way without thinking of the survivor, the sustenance of our country, Nigeria. And we are heaping huge amount of debt on children yet unborn. And today, we want you to pick up the phone, say a word or two, let us hear you, so that they too will hear. And like I always say, which way indeed, Nigeria? Comilante, let's go straight to the matter. You are in the local government and you hear these things. Is the office of the First Lady now a constitutional requirement? How does this meet you?
Honestly, I've expressed my outrage on this. I'm still expressing it. It's very unfortunate. I did listen to, I'm trying to remember this man's name, who famously, said that we have written, corruption into our laws. And the things that hitherto have not been constitutional today are constitutional. The things that hitherto were not lawful, today they are made lawful. And everybody is just calm about these things. It is outrageous, though you mistakenly said 1.5 million. If it were 1.5 million, I'm sure there would be no outrage. We are talking of 1.5 billion naira, okay, sent as part of the supplementary budget to the National Assembly, which has been approved. 1.5 million, to go into the First Lady changing her card. I honestly think it's outrageous. I honestly think it's insensitive. It's inhuman. Looking at the state of Nigeria currently, looking at the state of debt, our debt profile, looking at all that we are going through, I think that this is one of the most insensitive, things by this administration. And again, looking at the entire budget of over 13 billion to be expended on cars and renovations, you understand? It's definitely atrocious. It's evil. I think it should be resisted by all asunder. I don't know how we are going to do it, but this is increasingly looking like a government that doesn't care about Nigerians. You understand? They don't have any respect for the sensibilities of Nigerians, any respect for the suffering of the general public, because they're able to come out to tell us, to sow our clothes, like you said, according to our size, and to weather the storm. Meanwhile, in our own, just before our own eyes, we see how flippant they are. We see how frivolous they are with our collective patrimony. We see how careless and highly disrespectful, without any, moral integrity to understand that whatever they are doing right now is meeting us, not just in our faces, it's meeting us badly in our hearts, and it's hurting us so badly. A bag of rice right now is approaching 70,000 naira. And somebody has said that before the end of this year, a bag of rice may be up to 100,000 naira. And they are glorifying themselves, saying that they have raised the bar of 35,000 naira, to civil servants. They are giving some meager 13,000, 15,000 naira to some people. They themselves, will select as struggling families. You understand? And they say that they are helping the nation. With all of this, flippant, misuse of our patrimony. Honestly, it breaks the heart. And on top of it, my brother, what is even most heartbreaking is the level of lies. Why they came up with this budget and there was outrage, particularly people getting to know that the presidency wants to buy a yacht. For what? For what? They want to buy a yacht. The whole world was outraged about it. Everybody was talking about it. The National Assembly said they are not approving the yacht. Only for us to find out that yacht actually has been bought. It's been bought because of the outrage. They don't want to make it look like Nigeria is spending money for yacht. You understand? They use the National Assembly to lie to Nigerians. They bought the yacht. They've approved the money. They've not put the money into the Navy budget. You understand? Another extra 10 billion to satisfy the purpose of the yacht. At the end of the day, it's just going to show, okay, the real aim and purpose for Bola Ahmed Tinubu to become president of Nigeria. The real chase is what we are seeing right now. And it breaks the heart.
Thank you so much, Comrade. Democracy has become litocracy, and this is what we now have to face. According to Dele Farotimi, it's a government of lies, 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 lies. But I know you went to presidency, but I want us to stay just on the issue of First Lady for now. Constitutionally, I don't think First Lady is in our constitution. It's just the wife of the president. I think it was Babangida that elevated that office with Miriam Babangida pet project, and this has now become a big office that is not constitutionally recognized. And I don't see how this will change. It may just continue. The big economies, we don't have office of First Lady in America. We don't have all those kind of stuff, but this is what it is now. And many people will tell you it's not going to change at this moment. Let's just leave it like that, because in Nigeria, we like to leave it like that. And what we can do is just to go and pray. But now, Comrade Lamte, in the course of the campaign, I listened to the First Lady, or who was he was campaigning on behalf of the husband then as the husband as a candidate. And he did say very clearly that they are not coming to this office to collect or make money because they already have money, that they were coming for service. I know in Nigeria, what you campaign with doesn't matter when you are in office. Still in this issue of lie. How does that come to you when you heard of this car issue? Because the First Lady said in very clear terms that they are coming for service, they already have money. And one would expect that the former First Lady did not take all the cars in the office to Daura. Are there no cars there? What arrangement is being made for those old cars to be sold and probably the money taken and added to this? Why is it that our country is engulfed in flashiness? What is it about cars that don't have any market value? If you buy a new car today and you drive it out of the garage, 50% of the worth of that car is all gone. At this moment, 1.5 billion, like rightly corrected me, can change the life of so many people. Where is empathy? And would you say that the First Lady in that campaign was not aware of what she was saying?
I think you have a call. I don't know if you want to take the call.
Well, let's take the call because we don't have time.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, I greet you, sir. Yes, go ahead, sir. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I hear him very well.
Job you are doing. I'm calling from London.
Yeah. Dominic from London.
Yes. You guys are really doing a good job. Straight to the point. You are talking of lies upon lies. Where we are now, there are two things going on simultaneously. It's about looting and lies. It's a competition on looting and lies. You know why I said so? When Buhari was coming in, Buhari told us the only policy that Buhari had there was that it's not going to build the office of First Lady. That was the only policy I was able to take out because I never voted for him. I don't like him for anywhere. I've never liked him. Anywhere I see Buhari, when I see Buhari's speech on national television, I switch off that television. You understand? Because what he stand for was evil or true throughout his stay. So the same man came in, and I look at all his policy. I said, look, even when I say I don't like this man, but they still have one policy that says that I'm not going to build the office of First Lady. So let's take that one right. But no sooner that you see this guy in the office, you now begin to see that adjustment was being made, adjustments to adjustment. Let's compare and contrast with that Buhari's office, with Tinubu's office. Buhari's office, you discover that the first lady that was there, we were not hearing news from them, but you had entourage of people moving. Sometimes they use our plane, they use so many things, they will be using it, nobody hears about them. But the only difference between this government of Tinubu and this Buhari, even when we don't like any of them, is that they are able to tell us the damages that they are being perpetrated inside our system. These people are good in communication, communicating damages to us. What can we do? But whereas in Buhari, they don't communicate the damage. Under Buhari government, I see that we do no longer use a pen to write. Rather, we use ink to thumbprint when you are borrowing money. Because when they borrowed money from China, Buhari thumbprinted. They used Chinese language to sell us upfront for almost 70 years upfront. And those are the things that gives me concern. I'm not holding brief for the Tinubu and other, but they succeeded in doing one thing by telling us that they are causing damage in our eye. What are we going to do? And all of us are watching. Do you see it? They will go. They're not trying to, entrench this into the system by ascribing it to say that the ones to support and business is making them to go and borrow money. That's not good for us. But comparing and contrasting, it does appear that they are better because they are able to communicate it to us.
Mr. Dominic, I want you to be focused, sir. Mr. Dominic, can you round off your point so that we can go on to this program properly?
Yeah. I think that's where I stop.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you so much, Dominic Ariata. I didn't quite understand where Dominic Ariata was going.
Honestly, I didn't quite. I think he was trying
that conversation. But I think the conclusion is that he's trying to say that he's comparing the thieves. Like one thief is better than the other. Maybe one thief was not telling us anything. This other thief is making us to know.
Exactly. But I think I like us to correct something here. For all Nigerians, we are not going to correct the presidency or the government that what's its name, Buhari ran. We are not going to correct that. The government that we can correct is that of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, which is presently with us. So the whole idea of Buhari was a disaster. I'm not going to spend my time talking about the disaster of Buhari. Rather, I expect that Buhari being a disaster, whoever is president right now should be working to correct the ills of Buhari. But if whoever is there right now is continuing worse than that of Buhari or on the same trajectory, there's a cause of concern for concern for all of us.
Absolutely, but we must thank Ariata for his contribution. Comandante, just to come back home, I was asking if the statement made by the now first lady when she was campaigning for her husband does not seem to agree with what she's doing now. What she said was that they are coming to serve, they've already made money.
Have you ever I don't know if you read Macbeth by William Shakespeare.
Macbeth, man be thyself, yes.
Yes, there was a woman called Lady Macbeth. Okay. That Lady Macbeth as a character, was the person who was solely responsible for the fortunes and the misfortunes of Macbeth the king. You understand what I'm saying? You see, with all due respect, it's unfortunate that we are getting into this. And I told somebody earlier off camera today, and I said a lot of what this man is doing right now, okay, it looks to me that the man is not even in charge. It looks to me that the person who is running this country right now is the first lady. You understand the picture I'm saying? So everything you hear, this was a woman who came out on national television to tell us that she borrowed some 2 million from the wife of the vice president at that time, that she didn't even have money. You understand the picture I'm saying now? So it's a case of anywhere Bele face, what will appeal to the moment they can say. That is one. The second aspect is that my own basic concern about all of these is that the lack of empathy, the lack of, not being sensitive to this nation right now, where we are right now. These guys are out of touch. They appear not to even know. They are not concerned. As a matter of fact, the poorer this nation is, probably the better it is for them. You understand what I'm saying now? Because they have lots of people who present them. So if the nation is not this ridiculously poor, there will be less praise singers. And there need to be more praise singers. So they have to do everything possible to ensure that the nation remain poor and more people are in poverty. And that is heartbreaking. Because right now, what Nigeria needs to be doing is not to be a nation that is consuming and consuming and consuming, but rather a nation that is producing and producing and producing. It is not rocket science. You cannot be borrowing money to consume. All of this money that they are spending right now, my brother, the Zambia president, cars, you understand, he was entitled to cars, but the man came on national television and said, I don't want these cars. All of these monies that you guys are budgeting for these cars, I want to use it for something else for the Zambian people because our economy is bad. Can't they do that? People have told us that this man is one of the richest human beings in Africa, if not the world, that became president. We would have expected to hear that, oh, he's entitled to some 50 billion naira, worth of cars and every other thing. But no need. Because he's so rich, he wants to ensure that he uses all of that money to make Nigeria better. Now, you know the worst part of it? Just a while ago, they approved 50-something billion for National Assembly members to buy 160 million naira worth of cars each. But you know what? They took that money, they went to go and buy foreign cars. Meanwhile, we have innocent here producing cars. Whatever you spend in Nigeria, we go back into the Nigeria economy. But they will take all of this money and give to foreigners and ignore our own people that produce the same thing. So you see, look, let us play an excerpt of what a senator said. This is just part of the whole decadence that is so annoying right now. This is what a senator said, a National Assembly member said in response when Nigerians were now crying, what is it in this suffering? You guys are collecting 50-something billion for your cars. Hear the response of a senator, my brother.
They approved a Land Cruiser for us. And somebody that is a minister, you have more than 6, maybe 3 Land Cruiser, Prado, and other vehicles in their convoy. And you are not asking them questions. Please spare us a bit. And this vehicle that you take,
it says spare us a bit. I don't know if you listen to that. It says spare us a bit.
I did.
Hear more what he had to say. These people.
Go to Nigerian roads today. If I go home once to my senatorial district, I come back spending a lot on my vehicle because our roads are bad. And they approved a Land Cruiser for us.
Pharmacists, what he's saying is that the justification for them getting a 160 million car each is because Nigerian roads are bad. And the question is, who are the people to fix these roads? That's one. The second aspect is that he cannot ply the Nigerian roads with cars of 10 million or 8 million or 5 million naira. Okay? Those roads are good enough for average Nigerians like myself who can only afford a 1 million naira car or 2 million naira car or 800,000 naira car. But it's not good for him. This is why he must get 160 million. And what he's telling us is that we shouldn't blame National Assembly members. We should look at these ministers who get 5 cars, who run with convoy of cars. This is what Nigeria is at the moment. And the unfortunate part is that we have a commander-in-chief who is not perturbed, who is unhinged. He approved 51 billion for these guys. So therefore, these guys now, we have no reason whatsoever not to approve these multi-billions for him. And yet this country is suffering. And yet this is the state of the economy of this Nigeria. Bros, you get us a bill now.
it is frustrating, Komilante. In a more saner climb, as soon as that video came out, that senator should have resigned because it's an indictment on the office of him as a senator and the entire Senate for a road that you approved and money budgeted for. You are coming to a public platform to say that Nigerian roads are not good. That alone is a mark of failure. But like Komelamte is just a game. Somebody has just put out there to say that Nigeria is just an horror film. Nobody knows the next move. And the question I ask you, you answered that very correctly. We can never take their words. Their words are not their bond. And the statement made by the now First Lady during campaigns obviously does not mean anything. And like you said in very clear terms, they only say it just to enjoy the moment and the season where those are mentioned. As if that is not enough, Comrade Lamte. While we are still waking up trying to think about should First Lady be or not be? Should First Lady spend 1.5 million on cars or not spend 5.5 million on cars? The presidency is also doing their own. The office of the president and vice president, with the humongous amount of money that has been that they've earmarked to be used. What is even painful is that such amount of money will be used in the rebuilding or redesign of Dodan Barrack, the presidential house there. Dodan Barrack, for God's sake, is in Lagos State, where the current governor holds sway. And if I'm not mistaken, the current governor has got lots of houses in Lagos. And I don't expect him to live in Lagos permanently in the 4 years while he's in office. If he really means well and he wants to cut costs, even thinking of developing any place in Lagos could not have been contemplated at all, because you've got places both in local government and federal houses to stay. So it shows that they don't really understand the system. And also, the house of the vice president, I think Aguda House, is also earmarked for redevelopment. Let me ask Komelamti, in our houses where we stay, do we change our furnitures every time? Even these furnitures don't have children playing there. Nobody is going there to damage those furnitures and all. Why should we be spending money almost every time to change it? They are all for guests. Sometimes in a whole year, you don't have people sitting down in those places. In my view, I think these are all avenues and ways to just siphon money. In a country where we are in big trouble, what a presidential yacht is not for defense. A yacht is a place for enjoyment, where many of us we aspire, but we will never get into one. And what does the presidency need it for 4 years? So once we are grappling with the issue of the office of the First Lady, if it does exist, even the constitutional one recognized by the president and vice presidential office are not also helping matters. And that's why, Komelanti, I'm going to ask you, what is the Senate not culpable in all this? We know that the Senate appears or seems like when it was inaugurated to be a rubber stamp Senate. But don't they have a sense of decorum? And while you are looking at the Senate, I want you to also look at the Labour Party senators in the Senate. Where is their role? Are they not talking? Where these approvals are made, what was their contribution? Did they vote for or against? Or should we say that the opposition is totally moribund? Look at the Senate and their role in all this, Comrade Lamte.
Well, first and foremost, I like us to understand something here. Whenever there's a problem and you tend to want to go and treat the body instead of the head of the problem, then you're just wasting your time. The Senate is the body of the problem. The presidency is the head of the problem. Now, why did I say that? We are supposed to have proper separation of powers, under an environment where rule of law exists. But what we have is an immoral fusion of powers. You will recall that the present principal officers of this same Senate and the National Assembly was constituted in the parlor of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He decided that this indicted Akpabio, is going to be the president of the Senate. And so, to that extent, what will they do? You understand? When, as a matter of fact, their own destiny was determined by the man who is the head of, the Nigerian government. So at the end of the day, I care much less about the Senate because there is nothing that we are going to do. You understand what I'm saying now about the Senate if we do not cure it from the presidency? Because to be honest with you, when I look at all of these things, what comes to my mind is sometimes I'm just forced to think and I sing. I remember Peter Obi.
Aye, aye,
What
what
a
a runaway me.
so even though Obi is not Mr. President, my brother, Obi did tell us when he was governor of Anambra State, he told his wife, he said, I am the governor, you are my wife. So there will be no office of First Lady of Anambra State. You are the wife of the governor. You will play with me in my bedroom. There was nothing approved constitutionally for the office of the First Lady because it is not recognized by the Constitution. He told us that, and it was verified. Imagine that Obi is Mr. President right now. Given the state of this nation, you think that there will be this ridiculous 1.5 billion approved for one office of First Lady? I'm sure not, my brother. I equally believe very strongly that if Obi was president today, if you were the president of Nigeria today, I am very sure that there is no National Assembly that will get a 160 million naira car for each of them to the tune of about 54 billion naira. It will happen. Because the man said in his campaign, when he was campaigning, that he was coming to cut waste and ensure that we turn our country from a consumption nation to a production nation. All of that is what we expect any rational human being to do. So at the end of the day, you have a president who has the largest cabinet ever in the history of this country. Largest. And each of the ministers, they have their staff, they have their emoluments, they have everything, which means that this one did not come to cut waste. This one came to increase the burden of Nigerians. It's just like, is it Rehoboam in the Bible who says that my father chastised you with whip, I am going to chastise you with scorpions. That is what this man is doing. But I tell you, my brother, where it is going right now, it is time for Nigerians to declare to your tent, O Israel, so that we can drive some senses into their heads and take our country back.
Yeah,
It's definitely not sustainable.
Comrade, you left one part of my question. The obedient movement campaigned vigorously for Labour Party candidates. I know we don't have a substantial number in the House of Senate and the House of Rep. I agree with you. But my question is, Labour Party stood for a vision and a dream. I can't see the actions of the current senators from Labour Party and members of House of Rep from Labour Party. They are not talking. Are they also complicit? Why are we not hearing their own opposition?
Bro, let me tell you the truth of the matter, okay? If you think of Labour Party elected members of National Assembly or anywhere at this moment, and you believe that they should be different from this crop of people, I think we'll be making a mistake. I did have this discussion with somebody earlier, off camera. And I told the person, I said, if you expected so much from the Labour Party candidates, or rather elected members of the Labour Party, you probably will be making a huge mistake. Because Labour Party, even as it stands right now, it's not a party that is driven by that ideology. Because Obi was a symbol that Nigerians came to rally around. These guys that were elected under Labour Party, they were just accidents of history who, just enjoyed the goodwill that was accompanying Peter Gregory Obi to get elected into office. Okay? The same, what's it called? The same kind of thing in the minds of all other average politicians is what they all wear. So they are not really different from whether APC or PDP. All their own is that this is their own chance to get enriched. And so therefore, when that, Mogri is coming, they are willing to flock around it. Believe me, my brother, you will be surprised tomorrow to hear that each of these, the Labour Party members in the House and the Senate, okay, they would eventually cross carpet and join PDP or APC, because originally they were from this particular political parties. You understand? Our expectation was not for Labour Party. Our expectation was to make Peter Obi become president. That Peter Obi being the president and the leader of the party can begin to entrench ideology into the party. Right now, Labour Party is not different from the same kind of nuisance we see from APC and from PDP. They are not different. But I do hope that even though Peter Obi is not president today, Peter Obi can hang around the Labour Party and help drive ideology into the party. So far, Labour Party does not have any ideology. The person who's an embodiment of ideology that we flocked around, that we wanted to make president, was Peter Gregory Obi, because of what he stood for, which we felt, okay, the things he stood for will, in the long run, give birth to a better Nigeria. And if he was in a saddle, if he had been in a saddle, possibly the nation will generally acclimatize herself to the ideology of this man, to making Nigeria not a consumption nation, but a nation that produces, that gets accept better. So if you talk of Labour Party, House of Reps and House of Senate members, my brother, they are not different. As a matter of fact, you may not be aware, Abuja did call on these same lawmakers to say, do not accept this frivolity from the presidency and from the National Assembly members. Don't accept these cars. You understand what I'm saying now? Honestly, if I had been one of them, I think it was one opportunity to score very high political points, to make Nigerians understand that we are people of ideology. If I had been one of them, I would have rejected whatever is coming from them and made it very loud. Because 160 million for a car probably will sort out one problem in somebody's constituency. You understand? But they're not interested. But this one came out now to tell us that the roads are bad, and that is why he requires a jeep of 160 million at the expense of all Nigerians. So, my brother, let's just forget about Labour Party candidates. They are one and the same. You understand what I'm saying now? I think we should look ahead and hope that Labour Party may become a party of ideology, but Peter Obi needs to hang around to help strengthen the Labour Party. At the moment, my brother, Labour Party is just like any other political party. There's no difference.
Yeah, thank you so much, Komilante. I think you answered my question very well with your last statement. We thought that they were going to write their name in the sand of time and do the needful. But it's obvious that many of them they rode on the back of the Labour Party led by Peter Obi to get to that position where they are. And then we also fear that before long, they might even decamp. And then they don't have the temerity, the mind and the vision to follow through. But you also said that it would have been a time for them to leave their name in the sand of time and make that call so that there will be some form of resistance. But of course, Nigerians are politicians. Do we resist? Just dangle a carrot in front of them. Before you know, they will begin to sing Hosanna. Even when Jesus Christ is no longer on earth, they will sing and shout Hosanna to the highest heaven, because it is the issue of the highest bidder, which shows that monetization of our polity and politics is something of great concern. Ladies and gentlemen, viewers and friends of the Comrade Show, it's 38 minutes on the clock, and we are still talking about the unwarranted expenditure by this government, especially from the office of the First Lady, that is not constitutionally really recognized. At this point, we want to open the lines. If you have a thing or two to say, please pick up the phone, ring in, and let us hear from you. Let Nigerians hear from Nigerians, and let's begin to profile solution. We shall be going now to talk about what is the role of the public. What should the citizens be doing at this time, especially when it appears that our political class, with these their actions, are not really listening, and they seem not to care about us. Comrade Lamte, while we wait for the call, what do you think the people can do now?
Well, there's a lot that we can do, because right now this one is everybody must feel the impact of this. You understand? And it's so unfortunate that we have a very docile population. You understand? When it comes to times like these, I definitely have a way of, looking at some of the things that somebody like, Showore stands for. He keeps talking about revolution. He keeps on talking about revolution. You understand what I'm saying? I think this country needs proper revolution. It may not just be that revolution that is bloody, but a proper revolution of the mind. I did remember, what's his name, Mahatma Gandhi, whose own form of revolution was a very passive resistance. You understand? And I think right now it is time for Nigerians to get highly conscientized. People should now take the baton to their constituencies, because everywhere we have senators and House of Rep members representing us. I think people should be mobilized at that level to begin to call all of these people. You understand what I'm saying? Because we have a very passive Nigerian public, a Nigerian public that is not responsive to all of these kinds of pain that they go through. I think there is a need for this public to be conscientized so that we understand that we actually have the power to do so. I don't see any reason why Nigerians should not, at this critical stage in our lives, be mobilizing and condensing at the level of the Abuja, at Go Square, at the National Assembly complex, to demand that we want a reversal of all of these nonsense and evil policies. I think there is the need for us to mobilize, you understand, from all nooks and crannies of the nation, you understand, because at the end of the day, the more we endure, the more we die needlessly. Because whether we like it or not, all of these policies right now, they are costing the lives of Nigeria day by day. So the more we protect ourselves and not act, the more we are going to suffer the brunt, and ultimately we are going to be dying, and they don't care. So if we care about ourselves as Nigerians, there is the need for us to demand that we don't want this. Ultimate power must reside with the people. In the ancient Roman days, they tell you the mob is Rome. When the mob say yes, that is it. There was a Caesar has nothing to say. When the mob say no, that is no. Caesar has nothing to say. Nigerians must come out now to say no to these ridiculous policies. As a matter of fact, I honestly am angered. I'm really, really livid with all of this nonsense they are doing in the name of office of the First Lady. That office is not recognized. It's not constitutional. It should not exist in Nigeria. We have the wife of the president. She should manage the allowances of Mr. President with Mr. President. She cannot be carved and be given a different kind of budgetary allocation where, as a matter of fact, there is no role she plays to advance advance progress in Nigeria. Honestly, it's annoying.
Yeah, Komelante, thank you so much for that. And I like the way you use the word revolution, because sometimes it's always misunderstood. Revolution just means to change. And it could be positive revolution or negative revolution. If something is not working well, it has to be changed. But Komelante, this is not on cue. You said something that citizens should march and go to a place like Abuja. But that's not worry you, because we have a government that don't listen, and they have the instrument of state to checkmate us. Even the Labor Congress state strikes, we are getting injunction from the court stopping a strike from happening. And strike is one veritable way of citizens, or let me say demonstration of citizens to air their view. In the UK currently, there's even the big issue to say that even the Armed Forces Remembrance Day that will be taking place on Sunday, that there should be no demonstration. But because they respect the law, they still think that people should demonstrate, but police will have to get more powers to prevent them. But in our country, they don't listen. Komelante, this is not on cue. In your entire life, have you ever heard this? The current NLC chairman, Joe Ajero, was beaten blue-black. We hear it's even going to be flown abroad for medical treatment. If you were a common citizen in Nigeria, will you have the courage whatsoever to even come out and make any form of demonstration? And I can't see everybody crying foul because they think that Joe Ajero is not their brother. But the dog that is available to be eaten today, when he's dead, You that is pretending that you are not the dog will be another plate to be eaten. I even heard that even a segment of the NLC in the state, Imo State to be precise, sold out and gave opportunity for the Opu Zodima-led government to treat and deal with the NLC chairman or NLC president of the whole of Nigeria in that matter, in that manner. And I remember the days when we were in school where demonstrations, strike were highly respected. And somebody told me many months ago that what he fears in Tinubu presidency is not even bad government or corruption, but that he's going to wipe out all form of opposition to his government and it will be a free fall. And less than 6 months into his presidency, that discussion by a friend seems to be coming to the fore. I know we didn't plan to talk about the NLC, but the NLC is a big umbrella, and their president was beaten blue and black and about to be flown abroad. So don't you think the mouth that the citizens have already been taken? In my view, I think the only time that the citizens will really have power to say anything is during elections. But again, we are also cajoled because money talks and Nigerians become foolish. So as you look at Joe Ajero issue, though not on cue, does it not surprise you? Where will the revolution come from? Which way again, Komilamti, I ask you, Nigeria?
Well, first and foremost, bro, I at this critical stage in my life, I will always advocate for revolution, but a peaceful revolution, a revolution, of passive resistance to these policies of government. I will always advocate that. But however, when peaceful change becomes difficult to achieve, my brother, violent change becomes inevitable. Whichever way there needs to be change in Nigeria, whether it's going to be peaceful or it's going to be violent, it doesn't matter. The kind of Nigerian democracy we have right now is a burden on the people. It's a huge burden on the people. This kind of democracy that we have right now, where the politicians, are just enriching themselves, flamboyantly, they care less about the feelings of the people and the hardship that people are going through. My brother, this kind of revolution needs to be confronted head on. Now, when you say who's going to mobilize for such action and stuff like that, my bro, I did ask myself a question like that several years back until something called the NSAS protest started. And the NSAS protest, gave me an idea that sometimes you may not need one particular leader to start something. It's just for that thing to ignite and the whole nation will spark along with it. That is probably what we need now at this critical stage in time. The Benin says, the Benis necessarily don't go to hold any meetings where one particular leader tells them what to do, but they have one thing in their mind. And today, Nigerians all across have just one thing cutting across everybody's mind. And what is that thing? It is that there is, in fact, hardship in the land. And people recognize that this hardship is occasioned by the policies and implementation of government. People recognize that government can make their lives better. So people recognize that the chief responsibility of this hardship, the people who are chiefly responsible for this hardship that Nigerians are going through, are those in government. People recognize that Tinubu today is a major culprit as far as this hardship is concerned. And therefore, my brother, we need to be talking like this, conscientizing our people, making them understand that they have the power to change things. And so I am not bothered about who's going to spearhead this or spearhead that. You understand what I'm saying now? And let's take our mind back to history a bit. Before the first military coup of January 15, 1966 happened, Nigeria was this corrupt at our own level, political corruption here and there. That was what occasioned the military coup. Now, we are getting to that stage again, where this corruption, the burden of this corruption is really weighing heavily on the Nigerian people, whether you are home or you are abroad. So, my brother, I think that anybody can ignite this process. But I first advocate that we employ the Mahatma Gandhi rule of passive resistance. And that passive resistance has to do with going to our senators and our House of Reps members' houses, going to their families to knock on their doors, to tell them, to send messages to those representing us across Nigeria to say what they are doing, we don't like them, to draw a list to tell them that we don't want the approval of this 1.5 billion to the wife of the Mr. President. It should be rescinded immediately. It should be recalled immediately. We don't want the approval of Yach. We don't want any of these things. Rather, we want this thing to be deployed more effectively into other things that will affect Nigerians more than just some few individuals. I think that message should be sent to the various constituencies to the members of the National Assembly. So I let them take word back to Mr. President. In any case, you mentioned earlier, and I wanted to talk about that. As part of this over 13 billion naira that has been approved for them, refurbishing the mass house, refurbishing presidential lodge, refurbishing this, my brother, I don't know if you are aware, as bad as it's been, Goodluck Jonathan, whenever Goodluck Jonathan as president was going home, he goes to, what's his name? Is it Otweke, his home place? Nobody built a new presidential lodge for Goodluck Jonathan. The one who just left, what's his name, Buhari, whenever he was going home to Nasarawa State, he goes to his private home. Nobody built any lodge for him. Bola Ahmed Tinubu has one of the best houses in this country in his Bodilon quarters. Why can't Bola Ahmed Tinubu go to his Bodilon quarters? And with all this 4 billion to Bola Ahmed Tinubu and this 4 billion to Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who is going to monitor that this money was really spent on these things that they are naming right now? Is it not the case of approve this money, they just go to the bank, collect the money, put in their pocket? That's exactly what we are seeing, because at the end of the day, how they expend the money, we don't even get to know. So, my brother, the massive corruption that we are seeing right now, if we allow it to persist, like you said, we are not going to have a democracy at the end of the day. We are going to have a proper dictatorship. Our military young personnel, I hope you people are watching the situation. I'm not saying anything, but I hope you are watching.
Yeah, thank you so much, Komilamte. To be frank, the way our democracy has gone for the past few years, I think they've totally weakened opposition in all its fair. I think it was one of the Arise analysts, I've forgotten his name now, former chairman of Nigeria Electric Commission or something, who was talking about what the civil society did during President Goodluck Jonathan. And he did warn the civil society then not to take side. And indeed, they took side with the politicians then with a view to getting PDP out. And because they've taken side, they are now intertwined. The cry from the civil society has become a bit very minimized, reduced, if not totally diminished. So there is really no opposition drumming that word true and true. And I think the civil society need to wake up and come back and save our country. I also think that whether we like it or not, the People's Democratic Party appears to be the largest in opposition. So whilst we are also talking about the Bola Ahmed Tinubu certificate forgery, which is something we cannot change now, I think PDP should go into proper opposition and begin to hold the government to account. Because if these are all not done, Komilamte, you agree with me that it will be a very peculiar challenge by other Nigerians. What is also very surprising, Komilamte, I don't know if that has also affected you in a way. You see the amount of the credible Nigerians in our own little way, or Nigerians of conscience, or people that are educated, that you think will even speak truth to power. You see them either supporting the government, trying to stay away, or somewhat dilly-dallying. Those are the challenges. Remember what happened in Arise TV? I know you talked about it, even though you condemned the action of Rufai by making jest of the gentleman. But if we take all the shenanigans away and look at the meat of the matter, you agree with me that Rufai was trying to explain to that man who came to the show to say that the removal of fuel subsidy was not done by Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And then Rufai tried to correct him to say that was it. So because of all that happened, we sort of forget the nitty-gritty of the main issue. government is not taking responsibility and there's no veritable opposition to at least put them in the right place. That is what is making the challenge for our country at the moment to be very, very, very difficult. And I can't say it's almost becoming one-sided and they just do what they like. Was it not you that was talking about it's already been bought and approved even before it was sent to the Senate because they know that it's going to be a easy passage. But all what we are saying is for the betterment of our country. If you are in the good side today, I think you are enjoying, you never know what will happen tomorrow. Those people in Buhari's government who thought that tomorrow will never come, tomorrow has come. Some of them are in the opposition now. Some of them are not getting any largesse anymore. Where is the presidential spokesman of Buhari who was running riot and saying everything? So they are in the other side
You
now.
have a call.
Yeah, let's take the call as we begin to round up.
Hello. Hello.
The comrade show.
Good evening, sir. This is a familiar voice. Go ahead, sir.
Tony Agbon.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Tony Agbons.
Oh, Dr. Tony Agbons, how are you?
I'm not join the show, but I just want to make a contribution.
Yes, go ahead. Dr. Agbons on the line. Let's take a listen.
Yeah, thank you very much, Comrade Lamte Oriahi, and the anchor for the day, Pharmacist Remira. I've been following the discussion, and I just want to add my voice to the unjustifiable spending spree that the Bola Ahmed Tinubu government has embarked on. I'm not surprised. And when I look at the list, I just shake my head and said, like you said, our country needs to be reset.
Yeah.
You know, when we mention the word revolution, people will be thinking of bloodshed and all that. But I think it is very clear now to everyone in Nigeria that Nigeria is in for a one-chance situation. So we have 2.9 billion naira for SUVs. This is for the president. 2.9 billion naira for replacement of operational pool vehicles in Aso Villa. 4 billion naira innovation of residential quarters for Mr. President. Like you said, 1.5 billion naira for cars for First Lady office. 2.5 billion for renovation of Aguda House. That's the Vice President residence. 200 million naira for computerization and digitalization of the State House. 4 billion naira for construction of office complex within the State House. 4 billion naira for renovation of Dodan Barracks, Lagos official residence of Mr. President. 3 billion naira for renovation of official quarters of Vice President in Lagos. Then another 3 billion for acquisition, renovation, and rehabilitation of 2 EFCC quarters as State House complex at Guzakbe and Mabushi in Abuja, respectively. And then the yacht, 5 billion, which although the National Assembly has removed, but a budget for defense has been lifted up with about 10 billion. So we don't know what is going to happen there. And I want to also add, from reports that are available to, on media, the presidential fleet, air fleet, is also set to receive a budget allocation in the future of about 12.5 billion naira to meet operational requirements. So you just look at it. This is the same government that is telling Nigerians, to have patience, things will soon be better, but they are enjoying and flexing. It is so sad. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my views.
Thank you very much, Dr. Agbons. Thank you so much. Over to you, pharmacist.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tony Agbons. Even though you are unavoidably absent, you still managed to join us, and you are always a man of data and fact. Listening to you reel out those facts, it's good to say, let us close shop. They stink.
Let's quickly add a bit of bite. When they sent out that 5 billion for the procurement of the yacht, the National Assembly came to announce that they have struck that out and added the money to student loan. Now, he listened to what this senator had to say about the yacht. You see a government that deceives people. Just take a listen.
Litocracy.
Lies. Just take a listen.
Exchange implication, and they felt that the commitment has to be met, especially when I understand that the presidential yacht has already been delivered.
Oh, okay. So for purpose of
Are you listening? It's been delivered. Just listen.
clarity, it's already signed, sealed, and delivered. It's just to pay the money. So the outcry is not even necessary.
Yes.
All right.
Yes. So the deal has been signed, but signed and delivered, but not paid. So and that.
They've already delivered the yacht. But Bola Ahmed Tinubu has already signed. They've delivered the yacht to him. Now they not put that money in the supplementary budget because of the outcry by Nigerians. The National Assembly now told us that they've struck that money out. They've added it to student loan. Meanwhile, they want to increase defense budget by about 10 billion so that they can collect the money from that defense budget and add it and use it to buy the yacht. So they deceive Nigeria this way and they still go ahead to do that thing they want to do. My brother, who does that? And in any case, what are we expecting? This is a government, a president who was never transparent with anything, his age, his name, his education, is nothing. How can he be transparent with Nigerians? How can it be?
And I can even tell you, this might also be under issue of this judgment that went in our favor, where Nigerians were trying to support foreign companies to also siphon money. Let us be frank, Komelante. How can a dealer of yachts deliver a yacht that has not been paid for? How do they run that business? It's all that everything is all shredded in a gamut of lies, to be frank. If you run a business to deliver yacht, will you deliver waiting for money to be paid? There are so many lies and lack of clarity that we face in our polity.
The fact is that we are not going to worry about that. The people who are speaking right now, they are people that you can reasonably say these people are in authority. That's one. Second aspect is that in this country that we are right now, my brother, we buy new things, new cars without paying a dime. But because we are credit worthy, you understand what I'm saying now? The car I'm using right now, I didn't pay a dime for it. Brand new car delivered to me in my house. You understand the bit of what I'm saying now? So anybody buying anything in this world, in the name of this now, is going to the president of a country. That whichever company is producing that thing will deliver it, my brother. Because whoever is buying it is credit worthy, isn't it?
So yeah. From that angle, you have a point. So,
what can they buy that they will not buy? They'll just say, we want to put that for the next budget. Not what you will get your money. They may even pay it. They
absolutely.
Pay attractly. They'll say they never
and get the money and get the money later. Absolutely. Yeah. Friends and viewers of the Comrade Show, it's been your darling program. I think today's program has been very, very exciting. Many people have been making comments on our handles, talking about the issues and this unending expenditure. I think we don't know what this week will hold, but there'll be more. We'll still be here to talk about it and to look at how we can continue to push the government and indeed the Federal House of Senate and the House of Rep to do the needful. Komelante, as we begin to wind up, I know this is not on cue, but election is very important in our country, and we must talk about elections. 2024 is Edo State governorship elections, and we are from Edo State. We want a better Edo State. And I remember in your last broadcast, you were comparing, I think a state in is it Chicago, a state in America whose budget is going, whose expenditure or revenue will place that state as the number 4th in the entire world. And we're asking question why Edo State will not be part of it. But just before we go to Edo State, there are 2 governorship elections that are coming in quick succession. I think Kogi State and Imo State, and then Edo State in September. Looking at all the issues that is happening, I don't trust INEC. I don't know about you, but it looks like INEC is still going to midwife the elections in Kogi and Imo State. And there is widespread condemnation that the police commissioner in Imo State should be removed. Even many civil rights groups have come, NLC have also come to say that it should be removed. So there isn't so much I think can be done now before the Kogi State elections. Needless to say that Dino Melaye is running for PDP, and I think the man running for APC happened to be the maybe former chairman of local government or commissioner for local government as well. And I think Labour Party is also running. In terms of credibility, because it looks like the government is not listening to us. Only this week, there were 2 commissioners that were appointed in INEC, where everybody's running riot to say that they are card-carrying members. Civil organization has also, even Yaga Africa has also made complaints that they should be changed. It looks like the more we look, the less we see, and the more we look, the less nothing seems to be changing. But that's what we have in our hands. So I just want you to whip all of them together. Kogi state elections, Imo state elections coming, and of course the big election in Edo State. Just a quick word on all of them.
When I remember Yaradua.
Yeah, water run away me. You are remembering a lot today, Komilante.
I am a brother. You know, when Yaradua died, that was when our democracy died. Because the man expressed readiness to fix our democracy. He said, the election that brought me to power was fraught with irregularities, and he was willing to ensure that future elections in Nigeria will be more transparent, more credible. My brother, you know, I'm just going to digress a bit. Don't mind me, just to make my point clear. Today, Wike is embroiled in some political miakonkon, if you may, some, you know, political nonsense. And somebody, you know, spoke with me some time ago and said, man, probably Mr. President should wade into this matter, you know, and resolve it. And I said, the Bible says, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. I believe what the Bible meant necessarily has nothing to do with whether the person is a Christian or a Muslim, whatever the person is, but somebody who has good mind for his own people is a righteous man. Somebody who is good to his neighbor is a righteous man. Somebody who does the right thing is a righteous man. As a matter of fact, a righteous person is the person who does the right things. So the righteousness is derived from right doing. Now, when people who are not righteous are in authority, my brother, the people will weep. And I premise this on the fact that the godfather of Agberoism and godfatherism in Nigeria today, if not in the whole of Africa, is Bola Ahmed Tinubu. There is no way a thief will help you look for your missing item and you will ever find it. It's not possible. Now, talking about our future elections, whether they are going to be credible or not, a Kogi election, Imo election, and all other off-season elections coming up, my brother, take my word for it. If it's a nation that is right thinking, Mahmoud, who is the present national chairman of INEC, should not be sat there as the national chairman. He should be removed based on all the controversies that faced this last presidential elections. He should be removed because this man is arguably a branch and a part and parcel of Bola Ahmed Tinubu and of course his estate. And he's the man who's going to midwife these elections as well. So at the end of the day, what are we going to expect? Because this is a clear case of having the unrighteous people in authority. And it's a game of interest. So with Bola Ahmed Tinubu teaming up with someone like, with Wike, my brother, I tell you, this country is going to, take many steps backward. And all of the pains that will accrue from all of this nonsense that we are going to see, if they do not spur Nigerians to do the right thing and demand righteousness by way of revolution, then there's no use. There will be no use. I tell you, I personally don't expect anything. I don't expect it because the man who is the president is an unrighteous person. The man who's leading INEC has proven to be unrighteous. At the end of the day, many of the critical stakeholders are unrighteous. Even the Nigerians themselves, they are predominantly unrighteous. It's high time we get to start being righteous by doing the right things. And the right thing to be done right now is to demand that the nonsense taking place from the presidency to the National Assembly is to demand a stop to all of them. If the National Assembly members fear their constituents and fear Nigerians, they will respect the collective will of the people. The presidency will have nothing but to respect the will of the people. But if that is not happening, my brother, just take it from me. Unrighteousness is going to prevail in these elections.
Wow. It looks doom and gloom. But Edo State election 2024, that's our constituency. There's been lots of discussion about Edo Central becoming governor of Edo State, but we've said that let us have good people in the pot so that when we dip our hand, we'll bring another good person that will do better than the present government and take Edo State to indeed another level. So just on Edo State election, it's still tickling. Many people are still coming out. I think I saw a video, I don't know how true it is, of the former APC chairman before all the wahala started. One barrister, Jeswa, is running. I also heard from Grapevine that current APC chairman in Edo State, one Colonel Mose, is running, and many, many more. What do you have to say about our dear Edo State? After Kogi and Imo State elections, attentions will be shifted again to Edo State 2024. Let's wrap up on Edo State.
Yeah. For me, we cannot speculate too much right now because a lot is cooking. I'm glad that Edo State is way ahead, 2024, around this time in 2024, which means that we are going to see what is going to happen to Kogi, Imo, you understand what I'm saying, and begin to have some idea what may happen next year. Apparently, Governor Baseki has conducted the local government elections that brought in the current local government chairman. That again is another display of unrighteousness. An election that didn't meet the standard of what election should be. It was election, as a matter of fact. People are still reeling from the pain of what the government and the state INEC did in that particular selection. And a lot of this will be predicated on the outcome eventually, because I understand that the legacy party are in court with Obaseki, particularly over the selection of these guys to become nominated to become the candidates of the PDP. Okay, that itself, judgment is coming on that matter. And people are speculating that the legacy PDP appear to have upper hand in that matter, which means that if judgment comes and the people selected by Governor Obaseki to become local government chairman, they get removed, it makes that the people who took second, would be that APC came second in about 12 local governments and Labour came second in about 6 local governments. They automatically will take over. So the outcome of the court, you understand what I'm saying, on that matter is going to determine a lot. And the reason why that is for the PDP is because the soul of PDP is still being fought for. The issue of structure, like Wike has always been making noise about a lot, which is a bane to all of these political parties and all of the states. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if the governor of Edo State loses out of that case, he will lose the PDP structure in Edo State. The structure will go to, Danobi and his crew. But if Governor Basaki wins that case in court, it therefore means that Danobi and his crew will be politically exterminated in Edo State. You understand the picture of what I'm saying now? So a lot is dependent on that for the PDP. And the outcome of that equally will determine a lot that will happen in other political parties. You understand the picture of what I'm saying? That's one. The second aspect is that Edo State 2024 is going to be a watershed moment. Why did I say that? Governor Baseki was able to have his own hand to determine what happens at the local government elections. He may not have that same free hand when it comes to the governorship election because it is not the state INEC that will be organizing the governorship election. It will be this INEC, okay, that is under the political string of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who's in a different political party, that will be organizing, which means that we expect the PDP in Edo State to square up seriously with APC at the national level as far as this election is going to be is concerned. I'm talking of 2024. And while that will be ongoing, okay, the Labour Party is a party that, because of Peter Obi, they kind of flex their muscles well enough in Edo State and they can equally produce the next governor of Edo State. But at the end of the day, if what the Edo State people demonstrated in 2020 by joining hands to ensure that Governor Baseki is re-elected, if that is anything to go by, it may well be that Edo State people will eventually determine holistically who will be the next governor of Edo State. But a lot of events are playing out and we are going to follow all of these moments. And I really want to announce that Earlier today, I did have a conversation with Colonel Imuse of the APC, and of course, we want to interview him next week. Hopefully, they will meet some of the requirements we have for that interview. If they meet that requirement in the coming days, we are going to be, publicizing, so to get him interviewed, because we don't just want to bring anybody on this platform. We equally have our own set, requirements. You understand the picture from I'm saying? I want to be sure that these candidates are really, these aspirants are really running. I want to be sure of a few things, before we bring them on, because we want to get engaged with aspirants across board, whether APC, PDP, Labour, anywhere. Just let them know, tell those two people, Nigerians, what they have in stock and what they are willing to offer if they become elected as governors, or, as the case may be, governor of Edo State.
Yeah, thank you so much, Komilamte. It's at this junction that I want to quickly read something very important, just to add more pepper and salt to what you said. Arubo Boni Okokoni has just given a very vital information, saying that most politicians in Dan Obi's group have defected to APC, and this will definitely affect PDP in Edo State. So that's something to watch out for. I think Okokoni has got a very strong point, because it looks like Wike at the moment is in APC, even though he hasn't really declared. And we know that sometimes Danobi appears to be in the handbag of former governor of Rivers State, now minister of FCT's bag. So it's likely that Danobi would also, with members of his team, be heading the way of APC. That makes Edo State 2024 election a very, very interesting one, and will be the clash indeed of the Titans. But I trust Edo State. I know the citizens will decide. Also, too, like Komelante said, in the days and weeks ahead, we shall be interviewing many people willing to throw their heart into the ring to become governor of Edo State. Not also minding that our old friend Dr. Loretta Oduwari Ogboroko seems to be the only woman now, and is fighting that we should give women a chance. She is seriously contending, and I think she has all the wherewithal to become the governor and be a good governor and deliver on the mandate with which she, by the grace of God, will be elected. I think she's running on that Labour Party, so we are also watching to see. All these things hopefully will become clear around the first quarter of next year, and we'll know which candidates are coming from each of these parties, and that will now give those state people more opportunity to really estray these candidates and make a decision called September, and hopefully in November a new government and governor will be in place. Friends and viewers of the Comrade Show, you've made this show tick today. In the course of the program, we've looked at the unwarranted expenditure by the federal government and also the office of the First Lady. We've queried it and think that it's not right, and that at this time when our country needs lots of help, spending money that we don't have and spending them on things that are not important, haven't gotten them as borrowed money, is not the way. We've questioned the federal government. We've questioned the office of or the person of the First Lady. We've questioned the House of Rep and House of Legislature. What are they doing? We've also asked civil society to look carefully. And we've asked citizens to stand up and rise up to this, because at the end of the day, Nigeria needs to move forward. And if Nigeria must move forward, we must call our leaders to question. We've also, in a way, also said that INEC is culpable in many things, and we don't know which way. Look, Kogi State election and the Imo State election would go, and we're also watching the Edo State elections. Thank you so much for listening. All your contributions, for those who have contributed, we are indeed very grateful. I must also thank all our callers today. Dominic Reata, a friend of the show, who always ring in, week out. Thank you for your contribution. And our own Dr. Tony Agbons, who unavoidably absent though, still made effort to ring in. And I can say, like we always say, is the brain boss of the Comrade Show and the man of data. All the data you roll out, very important, and they also help our viewers, and indeed those of us in the studio, to understand the damning process of huge expenditure that this government is pushing and putting our country into. Friends of the show, thank you so much for listening to us. Please endeavor to share. And if you are going to watch the program later, once you watch, please try as much as possible to also share. Like we always say, stay out of trouble, remain good, be good until we come your way again. I must also thank the CNC of the Comrade Show, Comrade Lantik Bonsarak, who's doing a lot for the local government, always coming out every day, almost on a daily basis, if not hourly basis, to make comments and contributions on topical issues as it affects our polity, our politics, and indeed Nigeria. Thank you so much, everyone. May God bless all of us catabolically. Stay out of trouble and remain good. A new Nigeria or a better Nigeria will come to us one day. Certainly in my lifetime. God bless you all.
Peace.